Why? Why couldn't the Cleveland Browns just lose? They were going to lose that game to Chicago. Chicago had the game under control. Guys, yesterday was an interesting day. I watched my faith in the Chicago Bears go down the drain. Now, on the real note, though, guys, yeah, it started off this weekend as an insane weekend for us. We beat the Vikings in a crazy comeback fashion. The Colts beat the Steelers. The Lions beat the Broncos. By the way, yes, we did technically need the Steelers to win, like, in theoretically speaking wise, because it would give us a 3% better chance to make the playoffs. Thing is, though, we have a tiebreaker over the Colts, and we don't have a tiebreaker over the Steelers. So, the Steelers being knocked out of the playoffs is always a good thing for us, personally, especially because we play them next week. And also, number two, I don't want the Steelers in the playoffs if we get in there, because I don't want an AFC North team, another AFC North team, to be in the playoffs. Now, the Bears looked like they were going to beat the beat the Cleveland Brownies, and then they ended up losing that game. So, Cleveland, congratulations. Joe Flacco threw 3 interceptions, and you survived. Still pains me. I watched that game. I was so excited, too. I was ready to make the video. It was so beautiful. But this last game tonight does not actually matter how everything goes. So we're going to go into next week at a 34% chance to make the playoffs. And to be honest, again, like I said, most things that we needed to happen actually happened, you know? The Bills, again, we needed them to lose. Cowboys, you got destroyed by the Bills. Man, this week was just, it went so well until here. This is when the week went downhill. Awful. Good. Awful. Actually, this doesn't really matter. I just want the Chiefs to be knocked out of the playoffs. Awful. Good. We actually need the Ravens to win, surprisingly enough. Obviously, for the idea of us winning the division, it sucks, but we're not going to win a division. So, with that being said, it's actually nice that they won, because now Jacksonville gets knocked down even more. And, obviously, we had the tiebreaker over Jacksonville. So, it was like, started off so good, and then just straight down. But moving forward, we are still in a good spot right now. We're not currently in the playoffs because of, you know, situations that happened. But we're 8-6, and right now we are on the cusp of looking inside the playoffs. And we have a very important game this upcoming weekend. Oh, sorry, next week versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is in Pittsburgh. If we lose this game, there's 11% chance we're going to make the playoffs. So we have to win this game. This is would be our first divisional win of the year. And also, it just keeps our confidence going. It keeps our, you know, ball rolling here. Last year, going into the playoffs, we won 8 straight. This year now, we were going to be, what, like, at this point, we'll last 3 games. What, 3? We won the Jags game, Colts game, Vikings game, Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns. We would be at a 6-game winning streak going into the playoffs. So, we need all the momentum we can get right now, right? So, we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we're sitting at a 54% chance to make the playoffs. Then, what else do we need to happen this said week? Well, first off, we need the Chargers to beat the Bills. And the Bills just beat the Cowboys. Now, the good thing about the Chargers game is that this is the first game for the Chargers since firing Brandon Staley. So, it's very possible, especially with a lot of people saying that the Chargers, you know, they played so bad versus the Raiders because they wanted Brandon Staley fired, and the team gave up on the team. Hopefully, this is a, you know, turn in the right direction. Now, the Ravens just absolutely smacked the Jags up and down the wall. And to be honest, the Bucks just smacked the Packers up and down the wall. So, Baker Mayfield, can you please just continue that strategy versus Jacksonville? That would be very nice right now. Now, ironically enough, we need the Browns to beat the Texans. The Texans last week, they beat the Titans in overtime. Will Levis went down with injury. Browns, you got to beat the Texans this week. We need them to lose. Them winning was absolutely awful for us. Falcons had to beat the Colts. We need the Dolphins to beat the Cowboys, the Patriots to beat the Broncos, Chiefs to beat the Raiders. hate rooting for the Chiefs, but it is what it is. And then we can go into Week 17 with an 84% chance to make the playoffs. Again, like I said, we're going to have to win our game, though, because if we lose our game and everything else happens the way that we just showed, 31% chance to make the playoffs. So we have to beat the Steelers. As long as we beat the Steelers, we're sitting pretty nice at an 84% chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, you beat, either win this game and you're 100% in the playoffs. If you don't win these two games, then yes, you're going to need some other things. So, like, for example, if you do lose this game, right? All right, Patriots beat the Bills. You're going to need that to happen. Raiders beat the Colts. You're going to need the Chargers to beat the Broncos. And then you're going to need the Seahawks to beat the Steelers. And as long as that happens, you're 100% in the playoffs. And nothing else matters for the rest of this year. So, going into the Chiefs game, I talked about this last video, I think, when I talked about the playoffs. But as long as the Patriots beat the Bills, Raiders beat the Colts, Seahawks beat the Steelers, Chargers beat the Broncos, and even if we lose that game, right? That game, by the way, even going into this game does not matter. We're automatically 100% in the playoffs. Our Chiefs game and Browns game does not matter if these circumstances happen for the rest of this, next 2 weeks. So we have to beat the Steelers, obviously. But if the Chargers win, Falcons win, Browns win, Bucks win, Dolphins win, Patriots win, Chiefs win, Patriots, Raiders, Seahawks, Chargers, we're 100% in the playoffs. And we could go 9-8. It doesn't matter. We could go 9-8 right now. Or, my bad, 9-8, and we're still in the playoffs. So if we wanted to, I'm not saying we would because right now we have all this momentum, but even if we wanted to, we could rest our starters in week 17 and 18. As long as those situations happen, we can clinch a playoff berth before this 425 window. This is actually kind of cool that we play on 425 here because we can actually clinch a playoff spot before this window even comes through. So we could be getting ready for this live stream on 425, or at 425 on week 17 on New Year's Eve, and literally be like, we're already in the playoffs. Now, obviously, we're going to try because we want to beat the Chiefs, and we want also better seeding because obviously, you beat the Chiefs here. Let's say you also beat the Browns. Well, now you're number 5 seed. And depending on how everything else shakes out, you could keep that number 5 or 6 seed and potentially host the playoffs in the future. But it's just funny because, again, the Broncos losing to the Lions was so huge for us. Same thing with the Steelers and Colts. In the end of the day, it matters for, the long term for the Steelers to lose because now they're on the outside of the playoffs and that 7 seed become more open. So, in the end, it works out for us, but we're going to have to beat the Steelers. And if we beat the Steelers, everything else, if it falls correctly into place, then yeah, we could be, guaranteed a playoff spot no matter what. Now, the question is, can we get a guaranteed playoff spot no matter what without these situations happening? Let's see if we can kind of finesse anything else out of this. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and just put this in here real fast, okay? So, we beat the Steelers, right? Can we... Obviously, yeah, if we win this game, that's going to be huge. I'm trying to see if we can finesse anything. Chargers beat Broncos. Titans beat Texans. Panthers beat Jags. I mean, I guess it would be the same case scenarios, right? Yeah, Raiders. Yeah, it's going to be a case. Okay, so I don't think there's any way I can finesse this outside of what I just showed you guys. I'm trying to see if there's other games that could happen that could get us to the same result, right? So it's not just the said games I listed, but it's other games. And I don't think I mean, I guess the Patriots Broncos, I don't remember if that was the last one I did before. Browns, Texans, I'm trying to see. Okay, I know I did this one before. I did this one before. Is there any other games? Dolphins, Ravens, okay. Seahawks, Steelers, I did that one before. Dolphins, I mean, yes, we could be 100% in here. But again, it wouldn't really matter because I'm talking about before week 17. So, I mean, before week 18 and before our game on week 17. And this game obviously would not go through until... we wouldn't find out about these games until after our game. Or middle all game. Right? So, no, there's no way other than what I listed before that we could, technically speaking, 100% know we clinch a playoff spot going into our game. And actually, no, technically, I was wrong because this is, yeah, these are actually going on during our game. So technically, we wouldn't know. We would find out during our game pretty much that, hey, listen, we just clinched a playoff spot. In the fourth quarter, we would find out, like, hey, listen, guys, we're in the playoffs no matter what. So there's nothing we can really kind of finesse beforehand. It's just, if this case scenarios happen over the next 2 weeks, these items right here, then we're going to be 100% in the playoffs. And we're going to find out during our Chiefs game, if we look at the scoreboard and see the Seahawks and the Chargers game, we're going to see if the Chargers are destroying the Broncos and the Seahawks beating the Steelers, then we're going to find out, you know, we clinch a playoff spot. Now, if the Broncos win that game, which is very possible, and let's say, hypothetically speaking, I don't think the Steelers win that game, but let's say they do, actually. Let's just hypothetically speaking. We'll still sit at a 90% chance, and with a win versus the Chiefs, we'll be 100% in the playoffs. Now, again, we lose that game, we go into the next week, then you are going to have to beat the Browns. Now, if we don't beat the Browns and we lose to the Browns game, it's still possible to make the playoffs, but we're going to need these two outcomes to happen. Raiders and Ravens win, and then we're in the playoffs. So, it's going to be an interesting set of events. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one.